Chapter 3, Mishnah 5. Having discussed a Nazir who became Tameh at the end of his term, our Mishnah teaches the law of a Nazir who is already Tameh at the time he makes his vow. If someone made a vow to be a Nazir while he was standing in a cemetery, where he became Tameh by contact with the graves, even if he stayed in the cemetery for 30 days, the term of a standard Nazir, and observed all the rules of Nazirus in a state of Tuma, these days do not count toward the number of days he needs to fulfill his term of Nazirus. On the days in which a Nazir is in a state of Tahara from any corpse-related Tuma, count towards his term. Therefore, only the days, let's do that again. Only the days in which a Nazir is in a state of Tahara from any corpse-related Tuma count towards his term. Therefore, after he leaves the cemetery and purifies himself, he must observe his entire term of Nazirus from the beginning. And even if he then touches a corpse, he does not shave and bring the offerings of Tuma, i.e. the offerings of a Nazir who become Tameh. The Torah obligates a Nazir to bring them only if he started his Nazirus in a state of Tahara and then became Tameh, not if he was Tameh when the Nazirus began. Although someone who begins his Nazirus in a state of Tuma is not subject to all the rules of a Nazir who became Tameh, once he purifies himself and begins observing his Nazirus in a state of Tahara, he does become subject to all the regular rules, as the Mishnah now teaches. If he left the cemetery, purified himself from his Tuma, and started to observe his Nazirus in a state of Tahara, and then he entered the cemetery again, the days that he observed in his state of Tahara before he returned to the cemetery do indeed count toward the number of days he needs to fulfill his term of Nazirus. And if he becomes Tameh now from a corpse, he must shave and bring the offerings of Tuma. In addition, he forfeits all the days of his Nazirus, so must start his term again from the beginning. All the usual rules of Nazir apply to him once he begins observing his Nazirus in a state of Tahara. The previous ruling implies that as soon as this Nazir purifies himself and begins observing his Nazirus in a state of Tahara, if he again becomes Tameh, he forfeits the days of his Nazirus, even if this happens on the very day he becomes Tahor. The next Tana disagrees with this. Rabbi Eliezer says a Nazir does not forfeit his Nazirus if he becomes Tameh on the same day that he becomes Tahor and started to observe his Nazirus. Rather, he forfeits his Nazirus only if he became Tameh on the second day, or any following day of his term. As the verse states, and if the Nazir becomes Tameh, the first days of his term shall be fortified. Numbers chapter 6, verse 12. The plural form of the word days implies that he does not forfeit his Nazirus unless he has at least 2 days of observance to forfeit. If, however, he became Tameh on the first day and has only 1 day to forfeit, he does not forfeit his Nazirus, and the first day counts.